I think there is no other way than holding Israel accountable. And the way to hold Israel as accountable is to make sure that European countries change their politics vis-à-vis Israel. There is no other way, and there is no shortcut to it there. The United States has been, together with Israel, an opponent to this mandate since ever, actually, and it has been challenging for my predecessor, my colleague, and for his predecessor, Richard Falk. So this is not different, but they've become more aggressive with me because the reality on the ground has changed and has become more brutal, and so I've been forced by the circumstances to be more vocal. The level of disrespect for the function, for the person, is unprecedented. Of course, the lies they say about me that I'm anti-Semitic, it depends on what they mean by anti-Semitism, because for me, anti-Semitism is the discrimination against Jewish people because of them being Jewish. There's nothing like that in me, rather the contrary. And it's not a case that wherever I go, the first people who come to see me or who invite me or host events for me and with me are Jewish people in the diaspora, including Israeli people. So it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. For them now, anti-Semitism is criticism of the state of Israel, which is stupid, because of course why Israel cannot be scrutinized, especially as it commits genocide and unlawful occupation, apartheid and other crimes. So do I care? No. Look, I understand that the Palestinians feel completely abandoned. I would feel abandoned too. And to be honest, despite all the support, as a special rapporteur I enjoy, sometimes I feel abandoned too by those who are in power too. So I can only imagine how young children in Gaza might feel as the world is falling apart under their eyes, on their head in fact. And as I speak to people who are desperate or angry and they would like to help the Palestinians, well, we need to be more strategic. We need to not to be dominated by anger, despair, depression. We need to unite. We cannot afford the luxury of staying seated or sitting in fear while another people is being slaughtered. This is the thing. Those in power, the diplomats, former diplomats, policymakers, former policymakers, jurists, lawyers, journalists, this is the trade unions, this is the moment to speak out. And it's not happening. It's not happening enough. It has started. There is a revolution that can happen, but we are still in silos and still afraid of the words that we can use. First of all, we have the Oriental lenses. As Edward Said used to say, there is an assumption, there is a sort of assumption, dogmatic assumption about what people in the Middle East are, and we tend to see them through a derogative lens. When I say we, it's Western people, also Westerner. And I do understand that there is, even if we know very little of the history, even if we know very little of the specificities, the political dynamic, the culture, there is this assumption. For example, when we hear Palestinians saying Allahu Akbar, we immediately think that they are calling for a jihad while they are just praying. Like we say, oh my God, it's the same thing. Of course, there is an embracing of the pro-Israel or Israel-made narrative that this is a legitimate war and there is self-defense. They never question the self-defense argument, or there is the terrorism assumption, so that the Palestinians, whenever they resist, let alone Hamas, but even those in the West Bank, Israel shouldn't have its physical, military, civilian presence in the occupied Palestinian territory. So what are the Palestinians supposed to do if no one else is helping them preserve their right of self-determination? And there is total lack of awareness of the context. They don't understand the context. It's not that they don't understand, they don't care. Because it takes really a huge sense of entitlement and illiteracy to continue to cover the question of Palestine as poorly as they do. And this is why I think that they are complicit in the situation as is, in creating the conditions for the large population, for the large audiences they have, not to understand what's happening and why the Palestinians are being slaughtered. While I would use caution, because not everything has been verified, prima facie, it looks like a war crime, and again, yet another act that corroborates the evidence that the Palestinians are being targeted as such and destroyed as such. So how is it to be read? Not just a war crime, because it is to be read in the context of the totality of the actions that Israel has taken in Gaza, which altogether amount to the creation of conditions of life calculated to lead to the destruction of the group, which is an act of genocide.